truly relieve pain, we need to put an end to systemic pain bias and to believe Black people when they say they're in pain. What we're all here to talk about is something that we have in common, which is not being believed, not having our pain taken seriously. And each of you represent a much bigger medical phenomenon, frankly, that needs to be exposed and addressed. And it's an issue around pain inequity. Just to characterize this issue of pain inequity, I just want to share a stat that I think will resonate with all of you. It's from an Advil study on pain equity, and it says this: among Black people suffering from pain, 3 in 4 said that they believe there is bias in how pain is diagnosed and treated. 74%. So I share these stats to underscore that you are not alone in what you have experienced. And that's why we're here to validate your stories. So Aticia.
Yes.
You too have experienced your pain being dismissed within the medical system. Tell us your story.
So at age 14, I had already started experiencing excruciating menstrual cramps. I would go to the doctor and I would tell them all my symptoms and they would just be like, it's just a period, that's just how it goes. You're just a woman. This is what women have to go through. You have to be strong because this is not going to end until, you hit menopause. And it's just like, why are you trying to minimize what I'm experiencing by saying that this is what women go through? This is not what women have to go through. I moved down to Florida April 9th, and 10 days later, I was in emergency surgery. But when they went in there, they saw so much damage. And now I'm dealing with the consequences of the negligence that I've been facing all these years. They had to remove my left ovary. They had to remove my fallopian tube. And, the damage was already done. So it's kind of like, was it on me because I wasn't going to the right doctors? Or is it that you guys are not paying attention and you just don't care about the pain that I'm experiencing? And I really do feel like it was the latter.
This is a case where you did everything right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for sharing. Mark, I'd love to hear you share a little bit of your story. I know you went into the ER with chest pain.
It started one morning, I woke up and I tried to breathe. It just felt weird when I was trying to breathe. So I finally went into the emergency room and their initial observation was they couldn't find out what was wrong with me. So they sent me back home, said, just take some over-the-counter medicine. Went home, I just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So then I go to the emergency room. They couldn't find anything that was wrong with me. They sent me back home again, and I got worse and worse. At this time, I just needed the help of anybody. And I just felt like I was being lost and left behind. I got to the point where it was the final day where I thought this was going to be my last day on earth because my breathing was just terrible. Like, I could feel my heart slowing down. I had my son and his mom there went to another location because I didn't want him to get sick with whatever I had. So I called her and I said I needed to speak to my son. And she said, why? I said, I just want to tell him goodbye one last time and that I love him. And I didn't know if I was going to get a chance to see him grow up any further, I wasn't going to be there to navigate through life with the different things that you may come in contact with, the conflicts and all that. And his mom said, no, we're coming to get you. And they rushed me to the hospital. They said, well, let's check out his heart. Then they found that I did have fluid coming around my heart, and it was called pericarditis. And they sent me to a cardiologist, and I was telling him what I was feeling. And he kept saying, no, I don't think you're feeling that. It couldn't possibly be that. And I basically had to beg my doctor to do blood work because that's how they found out that I had the inflammation in my heart the first time. He was reluctant to do the blood work, but I kept pushing like, look, please do the blood work. He finally did it, and it was at this point I'm like, this whole time I think I'm going crazy, but I know something is going wrong. Nobody's listening to what I'm telling you is going wrong, and I just want you to hear that I'm telling you. I know my body. I know what I feel. You can't tell me what I feel, but something is wrong. They just wouldn't listen to me. And it was aggravating, thinking like I don't want to leave this earth and not see my son again. I want to leave this earth knowing I have so much more I want to do. But I thought I was going to be leaving this earth at that point.
You said that you got to the point where you thought it was the end for you, and you thought that, you weren't going to survive it. But you did survive it.
Yes.
And you're here to tell your story. So many heads are nodding because we all have experienced some portion of that, I'm sure. Deirdre, I'd love to talk to you next. So your 6th pregnancy, you are experiencing chest pain.
When I went to the hospital, I gave a normal birth, right? Everything was fine. And then afterwards, I was having a lot of chest pain, like heaviness. I didn't know how to describe it. And I was telling the nurse, I was like, I don't feel right. Like something feels very weird in my chest. She was like, oh, well, when you go home, everything will be okay. So when I went home, we was carrying stuff up the stairs and I felt like a pressure in my chest, like something tore. I kid you not, it felt like something tore. My grandfather was like, I think we should go call another doctor. And they came and did an EKG. They was like, the EKG is abnormal. I was like, okay. So they did a ultrasound on my heart. They was like, well, you having a leaky valve and everything. So I was like, okay. My trombone levels was very high. And he was like, that means you're having a heart attack. I was like, I'm sitting here talking to you. There's no way I'm having a heart attack. I just left the hospital from having a baby. What happened was my artery tore and it flapped over, so stopped all the blood from properly flowing through.
Wow.
So it was a very scary experience, obviously.
So you had a heart attack?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. As a mom, this story really resonates with me a lot. All right, so Derek, let's go with you next. I would love to hear your story.
I've had migraines since I was, 10. And for a long while, people believed men didn't get migraines. It got so bad, I drove myself to the emergency room. And this doctor comes in, a little woman. And she looks at me, she says, oh, big men don't get migraines. You sure it's a migraine? And she's just arguing with me that I don't have a migraine. And I threw up on her. All of a sudden, they're flying around getting me the drugs and everything that I need to stop my migraine. We shouldn't have to fight that hard to be taken care of. It's both the skin color and the size, Mm-hmm. You don't feel that. Mm-hmm. They diminish what I'm going through.
Right.
So now I go to when I approach a medical professional, we're at war. I'm coming in knowing I got to fight you.
Don't accept what they tell you, follow your instincts, and keep advocating for yourself. Hearing these stories arms us with tools and with a different protocol, a different way to navigate them. So thank you for sharing that. And Naya, you were diagnosed with sickle cell?
Yes. I was diagnosed with sickle cell anemia at birth.
So you have learned how to navigate life with sickle cell anemia, with chronic pain your whole life.
Yes, we call it flare-ups. So around 2 years ago, I started experiencing one of my flare-ups. I went to the emergency room and I told them all of my symptoms, just like very upset and crying and, because I was feeling so much pain. So the nurse called me in. She sees that I'm visibly in pain and she's like, okay, I'm gonna try to get the doctor right away. She was very sympathetic. She asked me of my pain level and I told her 10 out of 10. And she was like, okay. So what usually works for you? So she was like, okay, I'll go bring the doctor in and I'll tell him. So upon coming in, he didn't even say, greet himself. So you say your pain level was a 10 out of 10. How are you talking right now? He was trying to be petty with it. Like he wasn't being sympathetic at all. He was like, if it was a 10 out of 10, you wouldn't be talking. So you really should say 9 out of 10. And he was like, first of all, I just know that I'm not going to give you that amount of pain medicine. He's talking about 2 milligrams of like 1 IV shot. And so the nurse, she literally just butted in and she was like, listen, she was like, don't you see that this girl is in pain? She was like, the records say that she's taken this before. I looked at her records. You haven't even looked at her record. The doctor was white and the nurse was also white. When she was talking to him, he was looking at her in her eyes. He seemed more receptive to her telling my story than me telling my own story.
Wow.
So after that, he would just say, okay, fine, order it from the pharmacy and see if they approve it. She was like, you know that they're going to approve it. Me, my mom, and my sister had been crying, talking to him for like the past 30 minutes. And she talked to him for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. And he approved it even unwillingly and just walked out of the room and she was able to give me the medicine.
Well, I'm so sorry that you've had to go through that. It's not normal. It is common and it is not normal. So Dr. Uche, after hearing all of these experiences, what do you think this tells us about the state of the medical system as we know it?
Yeah, this tells us clearly that our healthcare system is in dire straits and is broken. So we have to do work on an educational level, on a protocol level within hospitals and healthcare institutions, and think about strategies for increasing diversity among health professionals.
Mm-hmm. We are not anti-doctor.
No.
None of us up here are anti-doctor. We recognize that doctors have an essential place in our society. What we are acknowledging is that the system in which doctors work is broken. It's sick. It needs healing. It needs help. Exactly. So that doctors can do what they were put there to do, which is care for people like us.
Absolutely.
With that, I'll just say, I think with all of us coming together, I think it's an indication that if we continue to work at this, the day will come when pain inequity will be a thing of the past. I believe that. I believe it's possible in our lifetime, but we can't silence ourselves and we can't give up the fight. So Dr. Uche, Derek, Mark, Deirdre, Anaya, Eticia, thank you so much for being here.